As I've said in several other Dragon Ball videos that I've made before, I actually do like the Great Saiyaman stuff in the Majin Buu arc. In fact, I like the Great Saiyaman stuff more than the Majin Buu crisis itself. Putting Gohan in various wacky adventures and putting him in wacky situations was a nice game changer for Gohan, considering the fact that Gohan was usually put in battle not because he really wanted to, but because A, he wanted to protect someone, or B, he needed to survive. Gohan was put in many fighting situations mostly because there was no one else but him in order to do it, because he had hidden potential. So to see Gohan in moments of peace was actually enjoyable for me. It was nice to see someone who I could relate to. I was about 16 at that point, and I could relate to Gohan fully because he was during his awkward teenage phase. And I definitely got to say this weekend was definitely Gohan weekend. What I mean by that is Toonami was showing Dragon Ball Z Kai, the final chapters, as it got dubbed right after Dragon Ball Super. I think it's kind of weird that Dragon Ball Z Kai was dubbed right after Dragon Ball Super in order. They could have at least changed the order around, made Dragon Ball Z Kai first and then Dragon Ball Super second, and at least it'd be chronologically correct. But whatever, we did get to see Gohan be the Great Saiyaman, and I thought that was pretty enjoyable. The reason I say that this was enjoyable again was because we got to see Gohan not only be the Great Saiyaman in Dragon Ball Super, but we also got to see him do some various awkward high school teenage stuff during the episode of Dragon Ball Z Kai. But enough about Kai. The reason I'm saying all of this is because this goes all together into Gohan's character and my thoughts on him going back into battle with the next arc. Don't get me wrong, I do like Gohan when he fights, but honestly, I do like the moments where he's playing superhero or going through his awkward high school phases. It just really brings out his true character, or at least brings out the character that he was exposed to. He's socially awkward because he was homeschooled most of his life, so I really do like the fact that Gohan was just as awkward as he could be, and not just the Dragon Ball Z Kai episode, but this episode as well. This episode basically begins with Gohan finding out that they're making a Great Saiyaman movie versus Hercule, and because of this, they decide to go on set and figure things out. Once they try to figure things out, it shows that the movie star that's actually playing Great Saiyaman is the very same movie star from Dragon Ball Z that Majin Buu picked up a magazine and saw a picture of, and then tried to disguise his face to look like it so that he could be handsome for a girl. So I thought that was funny that those two things tied in together. Watch the Majin Buu arc if you're curious. You'll see him again. Anyway, his name is Barry Sean, and he's sort of a dick. He's really pretentious and believes the world sort of revolves around him, but he refuses to do stunts because he doesn't want to injure himself. So instead, he has a fragile stunt double person do it for him. One thing he decided to do was that he just ordered this stuntman in order to do a stunt that he just couldn't pull off because he's a normal human. Because of this, they decided to go ahead and let Gohan do the stunt. This was more or less so that Gohan could get injured because Barry Sean was flirting with Videl. But instead of flirting with this all turns on his backside when Videl turns him down. So to get back at Videl, he wants to insult her husband. Gohan, however, actually does the stunt correctly because, he has superpowers. And because he ends up doing the stunt correctly, he gets all into the Great Saiyaman stuff and starts to show off. Meanwhile, however, a bank robbery is happening, and while this is taking place, Krillin decides to stop the bank robber, but gets interrupted by Gohan busting in as the Great Saiyaman. While that's all happening, at the very beginning of this episode, there was a small alien that had escaped, and Jocko had to go find it. It turns out the alien made its way to Earth and decided to take over one of the bank robbers as a host. Because of this, the bank robber ends up gaining super strength and was able to fight off Gohan. However, Gohan fought him back and brought him down. Once the arrest ends up happening, Gohan confirms that that Videl wanted the Great Saiyaman movie to happen because they both agreed that Pan would really look up to Great Saiyaman as a superhero. And actually is a good note that Videl actually started getting more attracted to Gohan, the fact that he was playing the role of Great Saiyaman again. I guess sort of nostalgia reasons? Anyway, while this is all taking place, after that, they go on set again, and everyone basically tries to confirm that it was Gohan being the Great Saiyaman. So we get another hilarious moment of Gohan almost getting caught as the Great Saiyaman, just like in the good old days of Dragon Ball Z during the Majin Buu arc. However, Bulma comes in and covers for him. When that's said, Bulma basically states that there was a suit that she made, quote-unquote, that got out and someone broke in and stole it, thus covering Gohan's ass. So Gohan was covered. But then after that, he ends up getting eavesdropped in by this actress known as Coco, the love interest. The actress comes in and basically blackmails Gohan in order for him to fly her all around the city. Sounding a little familiar? It sounds like the exact same position that Gohan was put into before during his high school days. I also thought this was funny because Gohan was already married at this point when he was blackmailed again. So he's getting blackmailed into dates again, even though this time he's already taken for her. This could cause some hilarious moments of Gohan almost getting caught cheating, even though Gohan's intentions were not to cheat. It was more or less to cover his ass as Great Saiyaman. Putting Gohan in such awkward situations again definitely brings back a breath of nostalgia because of the Great Saiyaman stuff. So it was really fun to see that Gohan was just put in this situation. This situation fits Gohan. It's a situation that Gohan would be perfectly fit into because it's happened once before. So when Gohan flies around with Coco on his back, he ends up getting caught by Jocko, and Jocko states that the alien had to have chosen a host, and it would more than likely would be the Great Saiyaman. So because of this, and Jocko has no idea that Great Saiyaman is Gohan, he decides to shoot some hyper blue cannon at Gohan and Coco, but the episode basically ends on a cliffhanger there. I definitely got to say, again, Dragon Ball Super is using Dragon Ball Z as life support because this situation happened once before. Not just Gohan being blackmailed of the Great Saiyaman secret, but also due to the fact that they're trying out the movie thing. If I recall, there's an episode of Dragon Ball Z where they actually did decide to shoot a Great Saiyaman movie. Now granted, this was only a small part of the episode and it wasn't as large as it was in this episode where there's a whole episode dedicated to the Great Saiyaman movie plot. However, that small part did exactly what this part did in 30 minutes. That small part was to explain the awkwardness of the fact of a stunt double who couldn't do things that the actual Great Saiyaman could do, and ironically wasn't as convincing as Great Saiyaman, even though Gohan is the actual Great Saiyaman. It'd be like looking at Logan looking like Wolverine and then stating that he is being a cosplayer and a bad one at that when he is actually Wolverine. Just sort of seems ironic. Anyway, regardless of such, this episode did a really great job of bringing back a breath of nostalgia, and it was a slice of life episode that was done really well. Great Saiyaman stuff is always done well. Honestly, I really think that Gohan should have his own spin-off series where he just deals with these type of situations. He doesn't need to fight. I mean, to be honest, it's already been stated. Gohan only fought to protect and to survive in most battle situations. Gohan doesn't fight for the lust of battle like Goku. Oh, also pointing out, Goku was only in like one part of the scene, and it was King Kai's planet where he sneezed because someone mentioned him. And I thought that was kind of cool. The spotlight should be on Gohan. It's his episode. And I definitely do love the love that Gohan's been receiving in the past few days, especially considering the fact that he is coming back to fight, which, like I said, it's mixed reviews on. But regardless, this was a really good episode. The next episode we will be going through is titled, For the Sake of Those Who Love, The Indomitable Great Saiyaman. See you all then, everybody. Tyrone the God 3, out.